everyone, my name is Travis and welcome to another Guardian build breakdown video. Today I'm going to showcase my Void Warlock build, and some of the things we'll go over will be my subclass, the aspects of Fragments, and the perks that I have or mods for my armor and some of the weapons I'm using, and providing how well we're going through along with the video. I'll also give you some tips on how to create an alternative form of this build if you want to go down that route. Of course, depending on your playstyle. And I have heard from a viewer of mine that they want to see this build in action, like any of the builds I make in action. And I will say this: I like what you have, I like what you brought to the table. I really do want to make a video, but what I would like for you guys to do in return, or at least first, is to subscribe to this channel, because I will be creating these eventually in the future anyways. And of course to like the videos that you actually want to see in action. So I will have the link to my playlist that has all these builds in the description below. And I'll like you guys to go through it, like which ones you want to see in action, and if you have any tips to optimize this build, then go ahead and put those in the comments for those videos. And whichever one of those videos, it could be more than one, it could be all of them, it could be one. Whichever one makes it to 10, at least 10 likes, I will go ahead and take that video and I will, essentially, I'll show it off. I'll showcase the build. And that works for all of my builds. So if you want to see more, then go ahead and sub to my channel so that way you can stay tuned for that. But let's go ahead and hop into this one. So this is the Void Walker. I would say it's one of the most powerful subclasses that the Warlocks have. It's the only second in command of that planet would be Well of Radiance, but that's just because that's out of necessity when it comes to endgame content. But if you want damage, Void Walker is where it's at, hands down. And we decided to go with the Nova Bomb Vortex. We're actually using this so we can heal upon getting kills, and because this is a oversized singularity bomb. So, really good for crowd control too. For our class ability, we have Healing Rift. Basically, the longer we can stay alive, the more damage we can dish out. Plus, this actually helps with our aspect as well. For our movement, we have Burst Glide. We really want to have the movement, just mainly because I don't think we Warlocks are really that good in speccing into mobility, just because it's not necessary for us. So Burst Glide kind of covers that gap for us, so that way we can go ahead and at least keep up with the rest. For our melee, we have Pocket Singularity. We have Pocket Singularity just because, we don't really have any other choice. We gotta make do with what we got. But, in all seriousness, we do have this just because it's a great way to instantly debuff an enemy. It makes them volatile. And if you can chuck them off the edge of a cliff, well, that also means you can get a kill with it too. For our grenades, we actually went with Vortex. This has pretty much been like the go-to grenade. I mean, in all reality, it's super reliable. It's also a mini singularity that you could just chuck out there and drag enemies in. And with the combination of fragments and aspects that we have, we can also, we'll basically suppress them, weaken them, and all that other stuff, just because Vortex grenades will suck enemies in, and because we will weaken the enemy can't really move fast, so they're going to move slow and get damage at the same time, which will proc some of their other abilities. So very useful to have, and really does help to get out of a sticky situation sometimes. But for our aspects, we have Feed the Void, so our grenade is actually going to help with this, so we can get kills with our grenade. It'll give us Devour, which with Devour, all you have to do, get kills, whether they're ability kills or weapon kills. Once it's activated and you get those kills, it'll extend the duration of Devour, and it will give you back full health and grenade energy. So it's a really good way to bring back that grenade quicker so you can keep it going for longer. As for our other aspect, we have Child of the Old Gods. So this, when you use your Healing Rift, this will produce a Void Soul. We call it, the colloquial term is Void Buddy, just mainly because it's been easier to say that. And if you're a little frisky and don't mind not totally getting demonetized, you can call it your child. But I'll refrain from continuing that dark joke. But yeah, essentially summon your Void Buddy, and when you shoot at an enemy, it should go ahead and go straight to that enemy and start siphoning them, and they will start to weaken them at the same time. And while it's doing that, because we're running with our Healing Rift, this will automatically give us grenade and melee energy. If you're running the Empowering Rift, then this will give you health. When you can get those kills while those enemies' lives are being siphoned out of them, this will give you class ability energy. So it's a really good way to kind of cut it off early and get back your Healing Rift sooner and spawning another one of these. Because as far as I know, there is no cooldown for your Void Buddy. As far as I know. For our fragments, we have Echo of Undermining. So when using our grenades, this will weaken them. This is what I was talking about earlier. With the Vortex grenade, it will suck them in and they kind of get stuck. Because when you're weakened, you're slow. And you can't really move very fast. So when you can't move very fast, that means that for all intents and purposes, you are weakened. You are an open target. So this will allow us to weaken those targets. And if we're surrounded by a lot of them, then as long as we can get some kills, then it allows us to get our super back faster. Now, later on in the video, I'll explain that there is an alternative way of doing this. If you wanted to take this Warlock a different route, I can show you, but that will be near the end of the video. But for this sake, we have Echo of Reprisal, so that way we can get our super back faster. We have Echo of Instability, so when we defeat targets with grenade, this will help grant volatile rounds with our weapons, which is a debuff for the enemy. So our void weapons will have the ability to essentially do more damage because volatile rounds will weaken enemies, basically. And then we have Echo of Harvest, so all that weakening we're doing, the more we get kills with those said weakened enemies, then the more chances we have at getting Orbs of Power and at getting Void Breaches. Unfortunately, because Bungie had limited how many Void Breaches can come out, to my knowledge, it's only one. And then there's a cooldown. And then you need to spawn another one. And then there'll be another cooldown. So if we didn't really have the cooldown too much, then, or at least if the cooldown was less than, I believe it's like 5 seconds, if it was less than that, then it would really show this build a little bit more. But yeah, basically with our mods that we're going to have too, this perk, this fragment, will basically allow us to have like 2 orbs and 1 void breach. But let's go ahead and hop over to our weapons. So for our weapons, I have Chroma Rush. I mainly have it for Wellspring, so when getting kills with the weapon, this will go ahead and divide the energy gain that you will get, but it divides it among your uncharged abilities, so ones that you've already used. And if you only used one of them, then it's going to give you a pretty decent amount. But if you used all 3 of them, then it's a very small amount. But nonetheless, it's still something. For our secondary, we have the title. Many people on YouTube have said you can use funnel web, you can use exotics like let me show you. You can use exotics like the Graviton Lance, or maybe you can use the Unforgiven. People say this is a really good weapon, and I would agree. I would agree with all of that, except I will tell you, in this case, that you should go with the title if you haven't. Basically, what the title does is it has this trait, this lovely thing called Classy Contender. And what it basically does is with kills with this weapon will give you ability energy. So use your Void Buddy, have your Void Buddy go out there and drain the energy from your enemies, and you get kills with the title, it's a double whammy. So you're killing debuffed enemies, so you're going to get a benefit from that. You're getting your you're getting your class ability back from killing debuffed enemies from your Void buddy, so there's the aspect kicking in, and you also get class ability energy from Classy Contender. So it's a great way to bring back your Rift really quick and allow you to use it multiple times. Plus, this will give you an opportunity to get a overshield from killing Void debuff targets, which is the same thing as saying weakened at this point. So it's a really good opportunity to give yourself some extra shield, as well as the ability to spawn and spam your healing rift. And I have the Taipan just because it's no longer machine gun meta. That was last season at this point, so I'm trying to figure out what we can use and what will actually make use of volatile rounds. So heavy machine gun, yes, definitely can. So like for example, I have the retrofit escapade. It's a void heavy machine gun. That makes pretty good use of volatile rounds. It actually does really good. This also does really good. And a couple seasons ago, I used this when I run in raids because this is actually a really good and strong hitting weapon. In my opinion, it still is. With these perks. If you do have this weapon, see if you can try to get this weapon if you don't have it already with triple tap and firing line. This guarantees you have Vice Stinger, so as you're shooting, you can get ammo to come back. You're guaranteed to at least get some ammo to come back with triple tap, and you can increase the amount of damage that you output overall with firing line. Alright, so, armor. Here's what we got. We got Nezarec Sin. So, Nezarec Sin says, avoid damage kills, increase ability energy recharge rate. That's basically what this does. What it used to tell you is that it would increase void kills, increase or regenerate void ability energy. It was just pretty straightforward. It did a lot. It's, by today's standard, I still say it's really good because this basically gives you your 3 abilities back quicker. And what we have for our mods, we have Dynamo, we have Ashes to Assets, and Harmonic Siphon. So you gain super energy when getting grenade kills, you gain orbs of power when you get kills with void weapons, and when you're near enemies and use your rift, you gain super energy by reducing the super cooldown. That is a difference. So this will give you a chunk of energy for your super, while this reduces the cooldown for your super. So both essentially do the same thing, they just do it in different ways. For our gauntlets, we have firepower, so this will produce an orb of power when you get kills with your grenade. Impact induction will allow you to reduce the cooldown of your grenade when you damage enemies with your melee. And this will allow you to get class ability energy when you damage enemies with your grenade. We're basically going to skip over the chest. The only thing that's noteworthy here is charged up, so it allows you to carry the maximum amount that you can carry for armor charges. So those are the things that you pick up. When you pick up an overpower, it gives you an armor charge. So I believe you can only pick up like 4 maximum. So this allows you to carry at least your max plus 1. For our boots, we have Insulation, reduces the ability cooldown when you pick up an orb power. Void Weapon Surge gives you, I believe it's a 10% boost in weapon damage for void weapons only when you pick up an orb of power. And Innervation allows you to reduce the cooldown for your grenade when you pick up an orb of power. Keep in mind, these weapon surges are considered a consumer mod, so it will decay your armor charges when you proc this, which will immediately proc when you pick up your orb of power. And for our bond, we have Bomber, which will, upon using our healing rift, will reduce the cooldown for our grenade. Reaper, when we use our healing rift and get a kill, it will automatically produce an orb of power. And then for powerful attractions, this is one of the seasonal mods. So when you're near orbs and you just don't want to die because the orbs are just right there, but the enemies are all around, if you use your healing rift near those orbs, they're just going to scoop them up, and you basically get the benefits right then and there. That's pretty much it to the build. Let me go over some tips here. So, because this is a seasonal mod, this is not the same as time dilation or empowered finish, which are these are persistent mods. These will last for the duration of this game, whereas powerful attraction will go away once this season 21, ends. When that happens, if you don't want to use this, or if you do and that time actually does come, then here are my suggestions. The ones I recommend to replace this mod with will be with distribution. This basically reduces the cooldown of all of your abilities, including your super, by I think it's like a certain amount, but really useful to have. Or if you really want to focus in on your grenade, then you can just go with double bomber, and that actually does give you a substantial boost to your cooldown. That's pretty much it for that. Oh yeah, keep this in mind, guys. So, Echo Cessation, Echo of Obscurity. Echo Cessation will make enemies volatile when you use your finisher, and produces a Void Breach when you kill said enemy. Which, with your finisher, you're doing that. And when you have Echo of Obscurity equipped, so those two are fragments, when you have both of those equipped and you use your finisher, you're debuffing by making them volatile, you're getting a Void Breach from killing, and you're going invisible by using your finisher. If you're going down that route, then I would suggest that you use this mod called Proximity Ward. Basically, when you use your finisher, then you gain an overshield. So that allows for some really good, useful clutch plays, as I will call them, because it will guarantee that at least you will stay alive and may give you enough time to revive your allies. So that way all of you guys can go back into battle. But yeah, if you guys like this video, hit the like button. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I do want to tell you, I did remove one of the builds that I was working on. Don't worry, it's on dim. And speaking of which, I'll have the dim link for this build in the description below. But I did work on my other one here. I have another build right here that I'll be showcasing pretty soon. But yeah, if you guys like this, then let me know. And like I said before, please look through all my videos in the playlist that I'll have in this description as well. Whichever one of those videos gets to at least 10 likes, go ahead, like the video, put your comment in there, and then I will go ahead and take that video and I will go ahead and showcase it. And then we'll do pretty much like, I guess, a live showing of the build, and then if whatever comments I do see, I'll actually adjust it right then and there. So that way you can kind of see how it works. And that way we can get an idea. And if I happen to really like the build, then I may just update this one with one that you guys offer, or that you guys suggest or recommend. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video of whatever I decide to do. Till then, ta-ta for now.